Need a new car? The Society of St. Vincent de Paul is hosting a car raffle fundraiser to raise money for their Madison food pantry, pharmacy, micro-lending program, and other services that help local families. That's right, you can buy tickets now for a chance to win one of 5 brand new vehicles. They've got 2026 Hondas, Nissans, and one Mazda. Tickets are $100 each and only 5,000 will be sold. Find more details on the cars and buy tickets at svdpmadison.org/raffle. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Today, the Madison School Board passed a cell phone ban policy for students. Local plant life is having foul impacts on Madisonians, and there's some UW Badger women's sports pride to herald. Plus, for our special Neighbors-Only segment, Sticking to UW Madison's food delivery robots are going away, and the team's got expert thoughts. Joining me for this roundup is executive producer Haley Sperling. Hey, Haley.
Hi, Bianca. We're really covering everything today. This is a roundup of roundups.
I love it. And producer Jade Isuri Ramos. What's good?
We contain multitudes.
We contain multitudes. I do like that as well. Let's just get in straight to our first story here. There's some pretty big news for Madison schools. This Monday, the Madison School Board voted 5-2 to pass a district-wide cell phone use policy. And the verdict, cell phones will be banned all day for grades K through 8 and for high schoolers all day except for the lunch period. So that means for MMSD kindergarten through 8th grade, cell phones can't be used anytime during the school day, not at lunch, recess, or passing periods. Y'all, is it happening? Is the sun peeking through past the shadow of our digital overlords? And reason is returning to our lands around cell phones' negative impacts. It feels that way. I feel bright and sunny.
Yeah, you're telling us exactly how you feel about it. Maybe to the teens' dismay.
Maybe.
I wish someone would come and take my cell phones away. That's my hot take. It's like, please, I will give it to the teens. They don't want it, but I also don't want it.
That is 100% what I was going to say too, Haley. It was like, actually, put this policy on me, please. I want to throw my phone into a fountain like Andy Sachs and Devil Wears Prada. But hey, back to the news of what's going on here. Yeah, MMSD is pushing forward with a cell phone ban. There are some exceptions under state law. I read from Cap Times' Ashlyn Chapman's reporting that the district will allow for exemptions for emergencies, management of a student's health needs, students with disabilities, and educational purposes when authorized by a teacher. So not like a total ban that disregards context and reason. But naturally, everyone has thoughts about this, including us, which we're going to get to. Or I assume you have thoughts. I have thoughts. I've seen tons of chatter on the interwebs. And as background, this debate around what the district's going to do for cell phones has been active for the past several months. From Chapman's article, in the debates, more than 50 people had submitted public comments asking the board to go stricter for high schoolers. So thoughts on thoughts on thoughts. Meanwhile, as noted, the school board wasn't unanimous in its approval of this plan. It's been a process with multiple amendments that were debated. One that really stood out being the rule around no cell phones for high schoolers in passing time. Several board members were in opposition to that, saying it would harm students who have jobs, extracurricular activities, and other responsibilities. That really seemed like a sticking point. I want to hear from you guys. Like, what do you think about this ban overall, the K through 8 and the high school cell phone ban? Like, is it needed? Is it not enough? Is it going too far? Do you have a take?
I mean, I think it's super necessary, right? And we're at a place where the state has mandated that all of these school districts needed to have a policy in place. And Madison kind of really came down to the wire because that deadline to get a policy in place is July 1. And, here we are. It's the end of June. So I think it's super necessary. I think especially K through 8. I mean, I'm thinking back to when did I get a cell phone? I first got mine in, I think, 6th grade. But only because, you guys know, I'm Jewish. I went to a private Jewish school growing up. So all of my classmates were having bar and bat mitzvahs. And so I needed a cell phone to call my parents and say, come back me up from the bar mitzvah party. Like, we're done now. So that is literally the only reason why I got one at that age. How old are kids getting cell phones these days? Like, are there kindergarteners? Like, is this super necessary for kindergartners to have a cell phone restriction? I do know too that like the ban also covers, it's not just cell phones, it's like all wireless products, right? Like smartwatches, AirPods, tablets, which I think is super smart and like really critical too, because like, yeah, you can do just about anything you can do on a cell phone also on a smartwatch. So it makes sense. It makes sense to me.
Haley, one thing that you're bringing up is the cell phone that I had in high school was not the same kind of cell phone that kids have now. Like I had, a flip phone, and then I had a BlackBerry, and even my BlackBerry could like, I don't know, check my email, but like really not do anything else. I feel like I remember like texting to tweet, like
BBM,
so
oh my God, yes, text to tweet, that like 4044 number, whatever. Yes, yeah. I do miss my BBM though. That was fun.
So yeah, like the distraction level of my cell phone, I remember being high as a high schooler, but there's no way near as distracting as my cell phone is to me currently. But the other thing, when I was in high school, I really wanted to be treated like an adult. There were so many times where I felt like I was being spoken about, but not spoken to. And my favorite cell phone policy in high school was I had a teacher who said, I know you have cell phones. Put them face down in front of you on your desk. And I don't care if you reply to like 2 text messages during class, but do it when you're doing your like free work, not when you should be listening to me. And the way that I felt like so respected and like taken seriously as a young person made a big impact on me, right? Like I'm thinking about it 20 years later. And so the one thing about this is I can imagine being a teenager right now and being like, I am responsible. I am managing my cell phone time. Why does this ban have to be so strict?
I want to zoom out for a second because really cell phone bans are growing across the US. Like, in fact, a majority of states have some form of cell phone restrictions. And big picture data that I pulled from AP reporting in 2024, Pew Research study found 1 in 3 teachers considered students distracted by cell phones a, quote, major problem. And last month, actually, the largest study ever on school cell phone bans was published by the National Bureau of Economic Research. And it took data from 4,600 schools. It's the first nationally representative study of its kind. And it used data tracking of locked up phones. And the findings were mixed. So teachers reported fewer distractions, but there is little evidence of improved academic achievement or better behavior. So I could see from a couple of sides here, like this is a newer arena. And yeah, it is also, by the way, like it's really not spelled out super clearly how the district is going to operationalize this. They have the charge that they're going to move forward and try this out. The district's planning to allocate $50,000 next school year to help high schools implement the change, and then $25,000 the following year. It sounds like principals have the authority to set the plan for their schools, whether they're going to use signal blocking pouches, cell phone lockers, storage caddies, what have you. Here's to trying. And the school board also said that they will be revisiting this policy next year.
Can I just add that, like, one thing we talked about is distractions, but also just like the use of my cell phone really like makes it hard for me to retain information in my head when I'm like, oh, I can just Google that, or I can just like ask ChatGPT. And I haven't even thought about like the repercussions of like testing when you have a cell phone in your pocket. And so I was a little bit surprised actually in that AP report that only 1 in 3 teachers considered it a problem, when I have to imagine that anyone who's living day to day is like, put your cell phone away.
It's such an issue. I mean, I'm just remembering back to my high school days, like I walked around with my cell phone for sure. But like you said, Jade, these were not the same cell phones that we had before. Like if you went on the internet on your cell phone in those days, it was by accident and you had to click like 30 buttons to get off. But like it was so much more of an issue for me because I would walk around with my iPod like all the time. Like I was constantly listening to music between passing times, like in study halls, whatever. And so I could feel that kind of like, I guess I have the sympathy there because I'm like, if someone took that away from me in my high school era, like my emo self would not have handled well.
I think also, Jade, when you said, talking about students being treated like an adult and feeling like, that they can determine what their best interests are, they're not adults. They're really not. And I think we're all just freaking out, or at least I think we should be freaking out about how these cell phones are impacting our brain health or impacting our mental health, when simultaneously that's one of the biggest issues that schools are facing is mental health and loneliness. And somehow these phones are keeping us cued in, but not like genuinely connected. So I got really excited about the idea of hearing about elementary school students really being at recess and being at recess and making those social connections. And I appreciate some of the school board members' points that I'm sure cell phones are really useful in passing times, and schools have libraries. And this is like and it's going to sound like this probably from all of us, but like an older generation person back in my day, like this is how it worked. We're in a new time. But yeah, I did tons of extracurriculars and held a job and just figured it out. So how to communicate, how to get transportation, all of those things. Like, yes, it would be an extra burden to wait till lunchtime for high schoolers. It's just these questions about what takes priority.
Yeah, I think that those are all really good points. And the school district has this year to really figure out what that looks like, and principals and teachers, and hopefully students too, and parents can have these conversations about what is working and what isn't.
Yes. Jade is looking out for you guys. She wants you in the convo. I'm like, they're not adults. But I totally agree with that. Hey, and alongside the cell phone ban, Madison School Board also approved its spending plan for next year. And it included some tax hikes for increased cost coverage. I talked with local entrepreneur Scott Resnick about that proposed budget earlier this week. And one of you wrote in. I want to share that message. This is Dustin J. on Spotify on June 23rd's episode. They said, as a millennial homeowner that doesn't have kids and bought a house to get away from rent increases, it's incredibly difficult to understand what value we receive from this. It's been a burden to our budget since we got our home just 3 years ago. Constant increases to our already high mortgage payment feels like educators take us for granted. It's frustrating to hear that property owners will continually foot the bill without regard to our income. So, Dustin, thank you for writing in and sharing your personal experience. I think that's really critical. And we always want to hear from you, and we want to be sharing your experiences, your stories, what you're thinking, what your questions are, so we can continue to grapple with that. And we do have more stories for the Friday News Roundup around the corner. But I want to ask you out there listening, what do you think? Let us know. Text or leave us a voicemail on the CityCast Madison line at 608-318-3367. We love hearing from you, and we'd love to include your thoughts in an upcoming mailbag segment. I do recommend folks go back and listen to that conversation with Scott Resnick, where we dig into the details around the tax increase and what the schools need. It's meaty, and that conversation is going to continue. But not today, because we're taking a break to get to more stories. All right, it's time for our weekly segment, Banking Outside the Box with Oak Bank, with the sponsor of this episode, Oak Bank. It's your opportunity to get your banking and financial questions answered by an expert.
Hello, my name is Joe Broadfoot, a business banker here at Oak Bank. This week's question is, what's one piece of advice you give to someone starting a small business? For a business, cash is oxygen. You can be profitable on your books while running out of money because customers pay late, inventory ties up capital, or expenses hit before revenue does. Many businesses fail not because the idea is bad, but because of cash flow interruptions. Tracking every dollar in and out makes you ruthless about pricing, costs, collections, and spending. A good question to ask is, if no new money were to come in for 60 days, could we survive? Here are some practical tips to live by. Maintain a 3 to 6 month cash runway, if possible. Invoice immediately and chase payments aggressively, or use upfront deposits. Separate business and personal accounts from day one. Stay organized and use QuickBooks or other tools, even a spreadsheet to start. Many founders chase growth too fast and die from indigestion. Slow, cash-positive growth is far more sustainable. If you start early, this is a fantastic habit to get into, and hopefully it will continue throughout the life of your business. Ready to get started? Reach out to us at oak.bank.
Huge thanks to Oak Bank for sponsoring this segment. If you've got a banking or financial question, hit the link in the show notes. You might even hear it answered in an upcoming episode. All right, we're back. And what is that tickling our olfactory senses? But not in a good way. Haley, what is going on in our Madison air?
Yeah, between wild allergy season and a particularly stinky lake, Madisonians may be covering their noses much more this summer. I know I am. I want to start with allergy season because I've been sneezing a lot this month. Because if it feels like your allergies are worse this year, you're right. They are. According to Cap Times, reporting from our friend Aaron McGroarty, UW health allergists say this year's allergy season is already more severe than past ones. Why is that? It is mostly because of the weather. Researchers have actually been measuring pollen levels in Madison for decades using a device on the roof of UW Health's University Hospital. And essentially what they found is that over the past couple of years, allergy seasons are starting earlier and earlier each year, and especially because of our early dry weather. So despite the fact that we've had a pretty rainy summer, our spring was pretty dry, which makes pollen circulation even worse. And that means for folks like me who suffer from allergy symptoms, we're feeling the itch much sooner and in a much more severe way. So have y'all been dealing with this at all, or is that just me out here sneezing up a storm?
My partner be sneezing. My partner is really going through it. And I can't tell if I'm going through it because I had a cold in the past 2 weeks.
I feel like as you were talking, my throat was like cinching up. I like needed to get some water. I think I am someone who really refuses to like take medication until I absolutely need to. And I do think that taking a decongestant would help me right now. Like, we pause the recording and I'll go get like Claritin D?
Haley, do we know specifically what kind of pollen is in the air right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at this point in time, tree pollen is starting to die down and grass/weed pollen is taking over. And ragweed is also a big culprit here. For what it's worth, grass pollen is actually predicted to be pretty bad today and this weekend. So definitely recommend planning some indoor activities or getting some nasal spray ready because it's going to be sneezy city out there. They did list in that Cap Times article some good nasal sprays for y'all. So we'll definitely throw a link to that in our show notes for people who need to stop at a Walgreens or a CVS. But, you know, in addition to covering our noses for allergies and pollen, folks are also covering our noses these days around Lake Monona because of the literal stink that is coming off of the water. I know you guys are dealing with this. It is stanky out there, and it is all because of these blue-green algae blooms that are spreading across the shorelines of the lake. According to the Wisconsin State Journal, it's gotten so bad recently that people were even able to smell it while attending the Harry Whitehorse International Wood Sculpture Festival over at San Damiano. Like, it is stanky over there. Have you guys been personally offended by the lake smells recently?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I assume the folks at that Harry Whitehorse International Wood Festival are not just able to smell it, but it is impossible to avoid. Driving on Monona Drive really like had me rolling up the windows faster than I can tell you. It is really dark-sided. And a few weeks ago, honestly, I already started to see pretty bad looking blue-green algae blooms, and I was taking photos over by the lake and just feeling like a bummer because I was taking it for us for our newsletter, you know, if we need this just in case. But then this past week has been diabolical.
Diabolical is the word. It is gross.
There are so many times throughout the year where I'm like, oh, I love living in a lake city. And then there are times like this where I'm like, oh my God, we live in a lake city.
This feels more aggressive than I've ever experienced.
Really?
It. Yeah. I mean, my childhood bestie who went to UW with me, like, I was like, you don't like nature, just deal with the smell. But this is on another level. Like, I don't really understand. Like, it was foul, to say the least. And I mean, geez Louise, blue-green algae isn't an uncommon sight for us in Madison. We're used to it. But Haley, can you remind folks, like, what causes this unfortunate phenomena?
Yeah, it really is unfortunate. And essentially, this algae, it's not actually algae. It's actually a bacteria buildup that's caused by runoff from soil, fertilizer, pet and wildlife waste. So it's basically just like a whole bunch of poop that's in the water. And that's why it smells like literal poop in the water. And, you know, Bianca, just like you were saying, like if it feels more intense this year, it's because it is. Again, like similarly to the allergy issue, our recent weather has really created sort of that perfect environment for it to bloom. Like I said, we've had a really rainy summer. So all of that rain coming in and bringing all of this literal crap into our water. And then we've had like very still and sunny days. So it's been that perfect mix of rain and stillness that allows these things to bloom, which is bad news for us. And I just want to put out a reminder for folks, like, don't swim in this. Like, please, dear God, do not swim in this. Don't let your pets swim in this. It will make you sick. So just watch out. Just don't do it.
Haley, as I'm hearing you say bloom repeatedly, it's making me think about when you visited the corpse flower. And I'm curious, how does the stink compare? Because I know you waited in that line.
I did. I waited in that corpse flower line for so long. Honestly, the way I would compare it is like corpse flower was much more of like a trash garbage smell. Like, you know, maybe you've left your garbage bag in the bin for a couple of days too long. It's time to take it out, or like something's brewing in your garbage disposal. You got to pour some vinegar down there. That's what the corpse flower smelled like.
Got it.
This lake smells like poop. Like there's no way around it.
I feel like we're getting to have a lot of poop conversations on the Friday News Roundup, and I'm not mad at it, but it is quite smelly. And now that we've brought out all of the good feelings in all of you listening, we're going to actually turn to something that's going to make you feel quite good, some news in women's sports. But before we do that, let's take a quick break. All right, we are back. And Jade, you're bringing some of that good news that we need after our stinky blues in women's sports. So starting with Badgers history during the Professional Women's Hockey League draft. You were really excited about this morning. What's the story?
Yeah, so 5 Badgers were picked for the first round of the Professional Women's Hockey League draft. That's the first time in league history that 5 players from the same program were picked in the first draft. So those 5 Badgers who were drafted in that round were Caroline KK Harvey, who was drafted first to the Vancouver Golden Eyes, and she is the first defenseman to be drafted first overall in league history. Then you have Layla Edwards, who was drafted 4th to San Jose, Lacey Eden, who was drafted 5th to Las Vegas, Kristen Sims, who was drafted 8th to Toronto, and Vivian Jungles, who was drafted 11th to Ottawa. So can we get some love for these UW alum?
I have goosebumps. This is awesome.
I'm obsessed. I love this. And I also love PWHL. Like, let's go, man. Let's go. We know how good these players are. It makes me want to tune in to the PWHL games and like see where they go and see how they play against each other.
And I bet like it's going to impact the folks that want to come here and play for us.
Absolutely. Like, my God, I mean, Madison has already been a hockey powerhouse, but like now there's a route forward, right? Like they're national champions here. Some of these women are Olympians already, but like after that, it's like, where did you go? But now there's a place. And like, that's so, it's so exciting.
Yeah, Haley, you're exactly, what you laid out is so true. It's like these Badgers, the women who got drafted, some of them went to the Olympics and are gold medalists. They won the NCAA championship this year, which was the second time in a row. So many of these women have that title multiple times. And, you know, all 3 of the recently graduated Badgers who went to the Olympics were drafted in this first round. And the only one who wasn't is Ava McNaughton, who we still get for one more season on the Badgers.
Amazing.
And here's the thing about the PWHL. Every woman in this league is making history. So they just started, really. They just started. The first season for the league was in 2024. They're currently in their third season with teams in 8 cities, and they're expanding to 12 teams next season. And honestly, I'm a little bit sad that none of these 5 Badgers will be playing with the Minneapolis Frost, which is the closest team to us. But I am looking for a game this season that I can travel to the Twin Cities for and watch some of these former Badgers go up against the Frost.
Yeah, that we got that Minnesota-Wisconsin connection. I was thinking about the fact that our lakes are giving us problems now, but having so many places for kids to like grow up and play ice hockey and get out on the ice all the time. I mean, that's a good thing. The Minnesota Frost. That's a good name.
It is a good name.
Classic.
But meanwhile, I do have a couple home teams to cheer for this summer. So the Madison Nightmares, the softball team, and Raleigh FC. And I'll start with the Raleigh because they have their final game tonight. So that's Friday, June 26th. The season has been the team's inaugural season. And while they got off to a bit of a rough start with some losing early, they are currently having a winning streak. So they are really bringing it home for Madison. And shout out to the Raleigh for their first season. And I'm saying all the luck to them tonight.
Yes, we're rooting for you.
They really rallied in the season, if you will.
They really did rally in the season.
I'll see myself out. That's fine.
No, they're living up to their name.
And meanwhile, my Nightmares, I'll call them mine. I have shown my colors on this podcast before, but the Nightmares are in their third season and they are dominating the league. So they've won all 11 games they've played so far. And at the time of this recording, they have a game tonight, though I'm certain they'll win. Don't prove me wrong, Nightmares.
You
Do it
can
for
be
Jade.
the captain. Jade, you can be the captain of our fan club, but I think that the whole team is fan of the Nightmares, and we want to go as a team someday. If you're listening out there, we want to be there as a team and supporting the Nightmares. But Jade, you are definitely our captain, and thanks for bringing the good news and the shout out to our athletes. And this is a perfect segue into our neighbor shout outs. Haley, what shout outs do we have today?
Yes, we do have one shout out from Tara. She's shouting out, quote, everyone involved with Samba Night, which is one Thursday a month over at Working Draft Brewery. She's shouting out the band Cedeira Pagogi and the Madison Brazilian community who make it all a party. And I believe it. I want to check it out.
The Brazilians know how to party, and I've never been to Brazil, but I'm just going to spill on this podcast that I'm kind of hoping to go for New Year's Eve.
Oh my God.
It's right after that is what actually I mentioned him earlier, but my childhood bestie who I was like, you need to like nature better. His birthday is around New Year's Eve, and I want to go party in Brazil. So I love this shout out. If you want to become a neighbor and get a shout out on the podcast, share your own, head to our website, madison.citycast.fm, and click on the membership tab on the sidebar. Click that tab, become a member, so you can get those great perks, ad-free listening, member-exclusive events, emails, and you'll also get the opportunity to hear our neighbors only segment on the podcast, which that's coming up for this Friday News Roundup, where we're going to talk about UW-Madison losing their food delivery robots on campus. We've got thoughts. Again, if you want to hear that and get those other perks, become a member today. Head to our website, madison.citycast.fm, and click on the membership tab from the sidebar. Well, that brings us to the end of this Friday News Roundup. Haley Sperling, thanks as always.
Thanks, Bianca.
And Jade Isiri Ramos, thanks for being here.
It's so fun.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm your host, Bianca Martin. We're produced by Jade Isiri Ramos. Katie McMurran is our post-production producer, and help this week from Elizabeth Kama. Haley Sperling is our executive producer. Our theme music is by Carl Christensen. Additional music this week by Wendy Marchini and Sarah, the instrumentalist from Epidemic Sounds via Getty Images. Rob Thomas is our newsletter editor. Don't forget, you can always get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to the CityCast Madison newsletter. And you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor. Head to our website, madison.citycast.fm, and click on the membership tab from the sidebar. And if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone who has kids in Madison schools? They're probably dealing with cell phones and allergies. All right, see you back here Monday morning, y'all, with more news from around the city. Until then, thanks for listening and have a wonderful weekend.